Welcome back, everybody. It's day 5 of Holy Week story time. As we have every single day, I'm going to grab my candle, and maybe you have your candle and you're going to light your candle too. There's my candle, and it's there to help me remember all the time that Jesus is always there in all of the good and all of the bad that life has to offer. For today, I want to show you something that we're going to use as part of our activity. These are called resurrection eggs, and I have 2 sets. So one set is the first set that I bought, and this set is store-bought and a little bit fancier. Then I have a set that Becca made several years ago. So if you don't have resurrection eggs from when we made them last year at the Easter extravaganza, you can go to the download section of the newsletter and it will tell you exactly how to make your own set. So take a minute and see if you have some in your house, or talk to your grown-up and decide if you want to make your own set. Okay, did you go and have your Easter egg hunt? I have all of my eggs right here. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start with number 1, and we're going to open our eggs and we're going to see what's inside. Now, one of the things that's important when we're doing resurrection eggs is that there's lots of different verses that can go in your resurrection eggs, because the story of Jesus last week is in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So what I read might not be the exact same thing that's on your paper, but we will end up telling the same story. Okay? So I'm finding my number 1 egg, and I'm going to open it up and see what's inside. How cute is that? It's a little donkey. And my scripture is on this little piece of paper, and it says, "They brought the donkey and the colt, placed their cloaks on them, and Jesus sat on them." So this is basically Palm Sunday, when Jesus is riding into Jerusalem on his little donkey. So I'm going to put number 1 back in here, and I'm going to look for number 2. Here's number 2. And number 2, is money. I've got some coins in here. Look at that. So if I read it, it says, "Then Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the chief priests to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted to hear this and promised to give him money." So we know that Judas is the one that told the authorities that he would help them find Jesus to arrest him. Now I need number 3. Where's number 3? Here it is. Purple number 3. Here we go. Number 3, oh, look at this. Now yours may only have like a little cracker in it. Mine, because these are kind of my fancy ones that I bought, also have this little cup, and this is called a chalice. So I've got my little oyster cracker here, which you could eat if you wanted, because you could just put a new oyster cracker in every time. And let's see what my scripture says. So it says, "While they were eating, Jesus took the bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and gave it to his disciples, saying, 'Take, this is my body.' Then he took the cup, he gave thanks, and offered it to them, and they drank from it." So this is when Jesus has that what we consider the first communion, and it's that special meal that he had with his friends. Now, number 4. Here's number 4. Now my number 4 again is probably different from yours. My number 4 is these little praying hands. And this is from when Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane. Remember that word? So it says, "Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, 'My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not your will, Not my will, but your will be done. So that's when Jesus was pretty sad and he knew what was coming next. So we're on to number 5. My number 5 is green. And this one has a little piece of leather rope in it. It's pretty small to see, but it's a little piece of leather rope. And it says, "Then the detachment of soldiers with its commander and the Jewish officials, that was hard to say, arrested Jesus. They bound him and brought him to the high priest." So this is when Jesus was in the garden, and then the soldiers came and arrested him. Now number 6, let's hope I get this right, because look at this, 6 and 9 look an awful lot alike. So we'll see what we end up with here. We'll hope this is number 6. I think this is right. So this is a piece of purple, and I think it's supposed to be purple cloth. Mine actually is a little bit like tissue paper. And it says, "So Pilate asked, 'Are you the king of the Jews?'" So this is when Jesus was being asked if he was the king, because that would be something that in Rome would have been against the law, because the only king could be Caesar. And kings wore purple, so that's why this purple is in here. Now, number 7. Number 7 is yellow, and it rattles a little bit, so I'm going to find out what's in here. Oh, number 7 is a nail. So this, and look at, this might happen to you too, one of my scriptures is missing, but I happen to know that if it's the nail, this is when they decided that they were going to kill Jesus, and that they were going to hang him on a cross. So that's what that nail represents. Number 8. Number 8, ooh. Number 8 is a dice. So let's find out, what were they doing with a dice? It says, "And they crucified him, dividing up his clothes, they cast lots to see who would get what." Now we don't play lots, but lots was like a gambling game. And they used dice, and whoever rolled certain numbers got to pick so that they could take whatever was left of Jesus' stuff. So that's pretty harsh, I think. But it's still in the Bible, so there you have it. Now, number 9. Here's our number 9. Oh, look at that. This is a little spear. So my spear, this is a really bad part, okay? Says, "One of the soldiers pierced Jesus' side with a spear, bringing a sudden flow of blood and water." So that was right about when Jesus died. And that part, just to me, is kind of the worst. So now we're at 10. So now we had the purple cloth, now I have white cloth. So let's find out what the white cloth is about. Our white cloth says, "Then they took him down, wrapped him in linen cloth, and placed him in a tomb." So they took Jesus off the cross and they wrapped him up in what they would consider burial clothes and put him, remember this is where they put him in a cave. And then they sealed it up with a rock. Ooh, I might have just given away what number 11 is. Let's look. Sounds like it might be that rock, huh? So let's find out. It is, ta-da, it's the rock. Oh, but listen. This is what they did on Sunday with the rock. It says, "When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away." So I can see where somebody might use the rock for having closed up the tomb, and somebody might use the rock for having had the stone rolled away. Now we're at our last one. It's number 12. I wonder what's going to be in it. I don't hear anything. Nothing. There's nothing in this egg. And the reason that there's nothing in this egg is because there was nothing in the tomb. Jesus was already gone. So let's read what our scripture says. Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He is risen, just as he said. So that's it. That's how we do resurrection eggs. And it's a great way to remember the whole story of all of Holy Week. And I hope that's helpful for you. And we'll see you very, very soon again. Okay? Bye-bye. Our story time today is called The Darkest Day. It's taken from Matthew 27:45 through 54. So if you have a Bible handy, go ahead and look that up, and you can read that with your grown-up and kind of compare it to the story that we're going to read. The darkest day. High on a hillside, Jesus hung on the cross. Long, sharp nails pinned him to the wood. A crown of spiky thorns dug into his forehead. Jesus was ready to die, but he was still afraid. He could see his mother crying. He could hear the soldiers laughing at him. He could feel the sharp nails through his hands and his feet. Jesus cried out. He could not move. He could not breathe. He felt all alone. Where was God now? The sun disappeared behind a huge gray cloud. Cold crept in. Darkness covered the world. Jesus closed his eyes. He bowed his head. He took one last breath. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in that cold and darkness, Jesus died. The wind howled, the whole earth trembled, the rocks shattered, the hills quaked, and the mighty curtain in the temple split in two. But Jesus was still. It was finished. Let's close again with our love letter from God. I think I'm going to put Miss Tammy's name in this time, okay? So, dear Miss Tammy, shall I tell you a secret? When Jesus was crying on the cross, I was crying too. When those nails were hurting Jesus, I was hurting too. When Jesus felt all alone, I felt all alone too. And when my son died, a part of me died too. But guess what? Death does not win in this story. Love wins. Love wins. My promise to Jesus was that nothing could separate him from my love. And that is the same promise I give to you. Love God.